Larger one-time expenses will not disappear in retirement. It would be nice if they did, but they don't. And you need to figure out when you enter into retirement, how are you going to afford those? What's the best way to save for those expenses? And where do you get the money from? Building plans for many years for Canadians, we found two great solutions to do this. And in this video, I want to break down both ways and show you in the financial planning software so you can get a mental picture around it and figure out which way is the best for you. How does your mind work? Again, typically it's one or the other. So let's jump into it and see which one works for you. So the scenario is we have a 60-year-old couple. They retired this year in 2023, and they need about $60,000 a year to live off and an additional $6,000 every year as additional money for those larger expenses. So if we go into their assets, we'll see here, they built up a bit of asset. He has RSP, TFSA. She has the same, a bit larger RSP. He also has a small pension. So he had a small $20,000 per month pension, which decreases at age 65. So you'll see that there, 20,000 decreases to 16,000 at 65. So they have a bit of assets, a bit of income coming in. You can see on the left here, we have this expense column. I've left this blank, and I'll show you in the next scenario where we use that. So if we go into the planning pages here, what we want to look at is, look, the client needs $60,000 a year plus an additional $6,000 a year on top of that to fund their ongoing expenses. Now they've asked for this additional money up until age 85. So they feel like past 85, they won't need this because it's for a new car and for home maintenance issues. And so they feel like, you know what? Our home, we can kind of tap out at 85, and the car, we're not going to be driving beyond that. So what we've done, option number one is to give you more money every single year. So for this client, they've asked for $60,000 and they've asked for an additional $6,000 every single year. Now, for a client like this, we will pay out. So wherever that money is coming from, RIF, pension, TFSA, wherever that income is coming from, we're going to pay it to them. It's going to go into their bank account on a bi-weekly, monthly, however they want to get paid. The additional $6,000, now they might need a car in 4 or 5 years from now, so they're going to start saving. Much the same way that you did it leading up to retirement. So from, when you start working until retirement, if you were saving for a car, some house rental, whatever it is, a big ticket item, you typically got your paycheck in and you carved out a little bit of money and put it in a side bank account. And that's this scenario here. And this is solution number one, is to take all your income and then kind of have side buckets. And we have a lot of clients that love this. We log into their bank account when we're going through the review and they say, yeah, Adam, I have my 10 side accounts, and they've labeled each one and they have money in those. And that's the way they like to do it. So option one, as you enter into retirement, is keep how you save for those big ticket items exactly how you were. Now, again, you need to make sure you carve out those funds within your, weekly or monthly budget, but essentially put that money aside when you need to do the house rental, buy a car, whatever it is, you pull it out of your bank account. Maybe it's in a high interest savings or something like that, but essentially you have control of it. You've pulled it out of your investments and aside into a savings account. So you'll see here, we've added $66,000 a year into their pocket, adjusted to inflation. At age 76, we dropped it down. Their income need dropped from $60,000 down to $55,000. But again, we're giving them 61 to increase by 6,000 every single year. And then again, drops to 50,000 at age 60 or 86. So what their income was, they needed was 60,000, 55, and then 50. So it's only until age 55 that we've increased. So again, figure out what works for you. The second scenario I would say is a bit more common, and I think it's more common because people, when you're working leading up to retirement, you can't really do this or do this as well. And so, people put money aside in savings and they know okay, the next 5 years I need this, so they don't want to invest that money. Whereas in retirement, a lot of your money is in retirement. Your income's coming from there. And so a lot of people say, look, I'll pull that money when I need it. And there's a couple key points I'll make here in a second, but option number two is leave your money aside. So instead of taking $66,000 a month, you only take your 60, and as you need that additional money for a vehicle, a home purchase, whatever it is, you can pull it out. But again, you want to make sure that you plan for that, because you can't just call your financial planner and say, hey Jim, I need $30,000 for that new car. You never planned for it. Where are we doing it? Maybe the market's down. We didn't put money aside. We didn't plan for that. Your financial planner should be building this into your plan. And again, different ways to do it, but figure out a way that works for you and make sure you communicate that with your financial planner as you're putting things together. So you'll see scenario 2 is we're putting in that $25,000 car purchase. We've inflated it with general inflation in here. And we said, look, from age 66 to 86, we need a new car every 5 years. So they're going to be trading in their old one, upgrading to the new one. I know $25,000 doesn't get you much nowadays, but if you can trade in a car that has a $10,000, $15,000 value, hopefully you get somewhere. And then the house maintenance, about $5,000 every 6 years, they figured on that. So if we go back to the planning page, again, really the same concept in that we're using your money that you've saved to pay for these expenses, just the way they come out is a little bit different. So if I look at this combined view, we'll see the expense column. So you can see this year they need some house maintenance, $5,000. In 2028, that's $25,000 adjusted to inflation for a car. You have, house maintenance, and it keeps going on and on through retirement. All the way until age 86, they upgrade that last car for kind of the final stage of their life. So again, it's just a different way to do it. There's no right or wrong, but you can see here, people like sometimes seeing that carved out. So, okay, real income, this is what I'm living off of. This is what pays the bills. This is what, my travel. Some people like to carve out travel. So an additional expense would be travel versus having it in the 60,000. Again, there's many ways you can cut it. Having done this for 18 years, I know that you all have different mindsets to this. And this is why I wanted to do this video. A lot of you think there's a perfect way to save for your next car, travel, it could be maintenance on the home, it could be whatever. But those bigger ticket expenses are going to happen through retirement, and especially earlier in retirement when you're driving, you're traveling more, all these types of things. So you want to make sure that the way your brain works maps out into the financial plan. And again, good financial planning software like we use can map it out however you want to see it. I'd say typically a lot of people will kind of build travel and some of these like ongoing annual things into their ongoing income needs. And then the additional, it might be a wedding, it might be an inheritance for the kids that they get. It might be something like this where it's a car or house maintenance. These bigger ticket items that don't come every year, again, you can either build them in and save aside or build it into your plan. But again, when you build it into your plan, if you need a car for $30,000 in 5 years from now, where's that $30,000 coming from? Make sure you understand you don't want to rip $30,000 out of your RIF in 1 year because you're going to drive your tax rates up. Do you have a TFSA that you can pull from? If your income sources are all taxable, so let's say you don't have a TFSA account and you have a pension and a big RIF, and that's where all your income comes from, I would highly suggest you go with option 1, which is pulling out on an ongoing basis. That levels out the tax rate a little bit. If you're someone that, no, I want to carve out and pull that $30,000, $50,000, $75,000 in chunks, you're going to have a level tax rate and you're going to have a big jump in your taxes for that 1 year. And it's kind of, it's going to have these mountain peaks. You don't want that. You want to create it as level as possible. So you're better taking a little bit more, bumping up your tax rate a little bit year over year, but avoiding those big tax years. Could cause OAS clawback and many other issues. So when we look at planning and these expenses, these are your two best options. Now, how you massage that into your plan, work with your financial planner and figure out what works best for you.